Hey guys, welcome to episode 11 of the Equity Podcast. I'm Joe and this is Berek.
Hey.
Today our main topic is 4 things to consider when buying shoes for CrossFit. After that we'll get into some question and answer, and that'll be it for the day.
Yeah. Sponsor today is Equity Legends. So every Wednesday at 8 a.m., one of our coaches, Kelly Roy, she runs a Legends program. So what this is it's for people over the age of 40, and it's being able to work out with your peers and being able to focus on longevity and doing having fun in the gym with people that are like I said, your age and have the same or similar aspects of working out, and it's just a good time. So we just started a Instagram account for them, so make sure to check that out. It's equity.legends, and give it a try. And if you have any questions about it, just shoot us an email. You can also go to equity.fitness/legends on our website to check it out.
Yep. So the main topic is 4 things to consider when you're buying shoes for CrossFit. Before we get into that, we're going to discuss the purpose of a general fitness shoe.
Yeah, so, the first thing is, what are the things that we're doing in here? It's a little bit of everything. So when we're thinking about, hey, what shoe should I be wearing? It should be a shoe that you're probably going to be comfortable doing anything in. So that's something, that's like the first thing you need to get in mind is, would I be comfortable doing anything in these? So some of the things we can think about is squatting, jumping, running, climbing a rope, right? Anything you can think of, we want to be able to handle that. So that's one of the main things we want to think about. And then the second thing is, everybody's going to be a little bit different. Everybody has a shoe that they prefer, or a feel that they prefer. Everybody's feet are a little bit different. So there isn't a one size fits all. So we're not going to give you, hey, this is the shoe, because everybody's going to be a little bit different. And that's something to think about. You need to find what works for you, and that might take some trial and error. But you have a gym, you have a community of people around you, and they can help you. Use them as resources. Ask people that have tried a bunch of different shoes, what they think, if they like them or not. And then if they happen to have the same size as you, like, hey, you mind if I, just walk around in them, try them out, do a few air squats? Super helpful. I know that's how I find a bunch of my shoes as well. Yeah,
and even if they're a couple sizes above, it's still beneficial to put your foot in and see what the base feels like.
Absolutely. And it really helps. I loan my shoes out all the time, just so people can get the problem is, it's who I loan my shoes out are to women or small children. It's never full-grown men. So
I'm the opposite. Yeah, and another thing, if you Google CrossFit shoe reviews, or I think as many reviews as possible.
He does a lot of shoe reviews.
Yes. Yeah. And probably some of the more comprehensive shoe reviews is as many reviews as possible on Instagram, and he has a website as well. I think the internet's a great source for that kind of stuff.
Yep. And then
if you can't get hands-on.
Yeah. And obviously the people here as well too can help you out. I have a lot of opinions on shoes.
Yeah, I have a few shoes.
I'm trying to be broad here though.
I don't have more than 3 CrossFit shoes.
Dozen?
3 dozen. 3 followed by a few zeros. All right. So we're going to now get into some of the main things to look for in CrossFit shoes.
There's 4 big points.
Yeah.
So the first one we want to look for is a hard sole. And we're squatting, we're pulling things off of the ground. You have to have it. If you think about what most people walk into the gym, their first time in the gym, they're coming in with a running shoe. And most people that have a running shoe, they have a foam heel in it. So think about trying to deadlift a bar off the ground standing on a bed, right? It's not ideal. You're not going to have that balance. You're not going to have that stability there to do it. You'll see this a lot with like power lifters and whatnot, is they'll deadlift in their bare feet because that's the most stable you can get. There's nothing between you and the ground. And so what we want is that hard sole. Yep. Now there's a couple different ways to look at that. So you might think, hey, here's a Chuck. That's a hard sole. The problem with that is, one, it's really, really thick, and the flexibility isn't quite there. And we'll get to that in a little bit. Whereas you might have, this is like this Innovate is the exact opposite. It's really thin. This is like a really minimalist style running shoe.
You can roll those up into a ball.
My Nano, this is a Nano 2, which is kind of in the middle. There's different types of hard soles, but that's the first thing, is we want that hard sole.
Yep.
Now, leading from that, what I just mentioned, the second point is what you want to look for is flexibility. With that Chuck, it's so thick, there's not a lot of flexibility there. Can you make it work? Absolutely. I worked out in those for a few months, maybe even a year in those, and it worked fine. And then that flexibility also leads to, like, think about burpees and think about running. Like, if that shoe isn't super flexible, or if it's really thick, it's going to be heavy. It's just not going to be comfortable to run in. It might be comfortable to squat in, but it's not going to give you that flexibility in all the different movements we're doing in the gym.
Or like double unders. If you 300 with those in a workout, your toes are bent like this the whole time.
Right.
And Chucks are not ideal for that.
So flexibility is a huge thing. Like I said, with this Nano, like, I can really bend it, and that there's that shoe base, you can see there's a little line right here, and that'll give that flexibility for things that I need. Whereas in the Chuck, it's not there. It's not going to bend as much. There's a little bit here. These are really, really old shoes. So I have like a crack right here, and there's a little bit of bend, but it's not where I want it to be. I want that bend to actually be a little bit up higher on the ball of my foot. So, the next one, this is actually, I might as well just keep this off. So the next one is durability.
Yep.
This is a huge one. The Nano, this is a great shoe, the Nano 2. I love the shoe. It's super comfortable. I love it. That being said, it's not the most durable. If I were to climb a rope in this, it would get shredded. It gets shredded. There's a little bit of protection here, but it's not enough. Like this sidewall, this foam would just get wrecked. And so it's just not super durable. The toe base is okay, but not super durable. And then the back is not too bad, but if I do a lot of I don't like doing handstand push-ups in this shoe either, especially depending on what wall I'm on. It's just going to tear up the heel as well. This shoe, on the other hand, this is the Nike Metcon. This has really good durability. These sidewalls are specifically there for rope climbs. Yep. The heel, this is a hard plastic, like...
Is it the 3 or the 2?
This is a 2.
Yeah.
This is a really hard plastic, and that helps. You can see I got like chunks out of it from kicking up to the wall.
Those shoes have been around a while.
It protects. This is a really good shoe. It has that flexibility, really durable. I've had this shoe longer than the 2, and the toe base is really durable. It's a really solid shoe. I like this one a lot.
Yeah.
And that's not to say Nanos are bad. I like Nanos. The newer, this is like one of the originals Nanos. So yeah, I think that's
these are 8s.
8s. So his 8, it has all the same things. It has a hard heel. It has that side, the rope climb protector. It's flexible. Again, so some of the newer ones. This is like the OG Nano, and the newer ones are a lot more durable. So
I've had these forever.
Yeah, that's what we're really looking for, that durability. And that takes some time, but I think most of the shoes now, like if you look up CrossFit shoes, no matter what the brand is, they've done a really good job, because they know we're hard on shoes because all the different things we're doing.
Yep.
Now some of the brands that aren't CrossFit shoes, you just have to be a little bit careful and do your research. And
I'd always suggest don't be an early adopter. When a new shoe comes out, give it a couple weeks, wait for the reviews. If something's going to break on rope climbs, it will be posted. Wait for that.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea, is to give it a few months for people to try it out.
Wasn't it one generation of Metcons that would just, the first time a couple people tried them on rope climbs, they just shredded instantly?
The first ones were tough.
Yeah.
And the back heel really, like,
the back heel popped off.
The heel came off real. I don't like doing handstand push-ups on those at all, and they fix that real
falls
quick.
down your ankle.
So durability. Those are the big 3, and then the fourth one is do you like it? And that sounds so like trivial, but it's not, because if you don't like it, you're going to be spending so much time in that shoe, you need to like it. And not just like the feel, obviously it needs to feel good, it needs to be comfortable, it needs to fill all those holes, but also, does it match your style? Do you like wearing it? Is it something that you're gonna wear? Like if you're like, yeah, I like that shoe, like it feels comfortable, but it's just so ugly, I'm not gonna wear it. You want to think about that too, and everybody's gonna be a little bit different.
Yep.
So make sure you like it.
Yeah, and another thing as far as like goes, some people like the bells and whistles, like the plastic heels on the Metcons, or some people really like. I'm trying to think. I think the 9s or 10s have them, like the grippy sides for rope climbs and stuff.
Yeah.
Like if you look for bells and whistles that you like too, that's another preference
the
thing.
fly wire for the laces is a really good one. So the fly wire, what it does is there's, I'm gonna say cords that come onto the side of the shoe from the laces, and then when you lace it up, it tightens the shoe around your foot. To get a little different, and that's not just for CrossFit shoes. I think that's something that is seen in other shoes as well. It's a Nike thing.
Yep.
So that's something to think about. So that's kind of like the big four, and we just showed a couple examples. So I'm going to just kind of talk about some brands is what I want to talk about. Yep. So the Nanos, both Joe and I are wearing Nanos right now, which is kind of funny. They're super comfortable. They're actually probably overall my favorite shoe. I think they're the most comfortable. Yep. And I just like them the most personally. That being said, I have a lot of shoes and I wear all of them. So what I do is I cycle. I'll kind of wear a pair for a week or two, and then I'll use another pair. Unless something super specific. Like if we have rope climbs, I'm going to change. I'm not going to wear these.
Yeah.
The Metcons are probably like your next, what you kind of see the most, because they're like the Nanos and the Metcons were built for us. For CrossFit, for what we do. So I really like this shoe as well. I actually like running in the Metcon a little bit more, but I really like this shoe. I actually find myself wearing these in competitions more frequently, and I don't know why. I think it's because I don't have any of the new Nanos. I think the newest Nano I have, I just got the 6. And that's probably, I'll wear that one more.
6s are amazing shoes.
They're really nice.
They're so great.
But when I didn't have the 6, I actually preferred competing in my Metcons because they were just more durable than the other shoes I had. Innovate's a decent one. They kind of started, they're more of like a CrossFit / adventure racing shoe. This is the shoe that I actually prefer running in. It's a really small, hard sole, and I really like this one a lot, especially for running. The durability of this one in particular is not great, but I think they've come a long way since when I bought these. I think I bought these in the old gym. So like 2014 is when I got these, maybe 2015. So these are an older shoe. So I think the durability is a lot better. And they have Rope Tech right here. It's called Rope Tech. So they have a little bit, but I don't like rope climbing in these. But again, I think they've gotten a lot better with the durability in the shoe. Then you have Nobles. I have a pair of Nobles. I really like them.
They're my only complaint about Nobles. They're really, I think I have a bunch of them. They're durable shoes.
Yeah, durability is really good.
Pay the same price as you would for Metcons or Reeboks, but there's none of the bells and whistles like the plastic. There's none of the rope climb stuff. There's none of that extra stuff. They're just really durable, which is fine if you're looking for that. But I might lean towards some of the other ones.
I think that their durability is through the roof.
Yes, absolutely.
Durability through the roof.
Bomb-proof shoes.
Hard sole, they have that. The issue that I find that most people have with them is the flexibility. They're a little bit more of a stiffer shoe, so running in them isn't ideal. I still run in them. If I'm doing 400s or something, but if I'm running like miles, I don't want to run in them. Or if like just running, I'm not going to. But if it's a Metcon, I think I'd be fine running in them. What else? New Balance is another one. I have 2 pairs of New Balance. I really like them. They have a brand, like a model called the Minimus. They're a really great shoe to check out as well. So those are just a few of the options, and there's there's tons out there.
Yeah, everyone makes one now.
Yes, everybody has a shoe that kind of fits what we're looking for, and you just kind of have to find the one that works for you.
Yep.
All right, so last thing I want to
Special
talk
shoes.
about is specialities. So there's some things that we do that we might want a specific shoe for.
Yep.
The obvious is running, right? So we're shooting this on a Thursday, and the workout today is a 1,400 meter run and then a 1,400 meter row. So there's people that are probably going to lean towards a shoe that they like running in, or even running in their shoes, which is perfectly fine.
Yep.
But if we have that running shoe and it's Nancy, which is running and overhead squats, those overhead squats aren't going to be fun.
Real hard.
So you want something like in between. But if we're just running and you really like a specific running shoe, get it, go
Yep.
after it. So running is obviously something where a lot of people, and that's where most people start their fitness journey, is with running. So a lot of people have those shoes already.
Yep.
Now, once we start getting into the CrossFit, generally, people start getting that general shoe that we've just talked about, and then we start finding the barbell, and we're like, I like the general shoes, but is there something else that I should be doing? You have Oli shoes.
Yep.
And there's a few things different about those. They're very stiff
Yes.
because you're just lifting weights in them.
Yeah, they
Raised heel.
yeah, elevated heels.
Very stiff. The
Typic-
durability isn't going to be super high generally.
Yeah, depending.
But they're not awful, in any respects. They're actually better than I would think.
Yeah, well, you're
But-
also not. If you do anything other than weightlifting in weightlifting shoes, I'll punch you.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun to do, but
Yeah.
that's something to do. I don't really wear them that much anymore at all. I think in the beginning stages of CrossFit, especially in the competition realm, you saw a lot of people like trying to get every edge, but now, like, you should have the capacity to do anything in anything.
Yeah.
Like, if you have to have a specific shoe to snatch in, the shoe isn't the issue. It's something that you're not doing, right? It's, you need to work on your mobility, or something else is there. So, because if you have a hard sole, you should be able to do those lifts in that, right?
Yeah.
And you
You
can
might
do
gain an
overheads.
extra pound or two with an
Right.
Olympic shoe, but it shouldn't be like a crutch.
Right, exactly. That is the exact word. I love that. That's perfect word to use. A shoe should not be a crutch.
Yeah.
Can I do Nancy in running shoes? Yep.
Would you want to? No.
Yeah, you might not want to. Same thing with Olympic, with the Olympic stuff.
Yeah.
And
And that's another thing where preference really comes into it for Olympic shoes.
Yeah.
It's especially with heel height.
Yeah.
Because my shoes have a really high heel height, and I like that. I know some people would like the old Reebok shoes have the really short, shallow heels.
One, yeah.
Yep.
And I think they were trying to be a little more of a general Olympic shoe where you can kind of get away with doing some stuff in it.
Yep.
And the next one is powerlifting. I think the biggest thing you see with them is chucks.
Yeah.
The big problem with chucks is their durability. It's canvas. So, like, if you have a wider foot and you're really putting a lot of pressure on that, they're just not going to last.
No.
They tried to make a powerlifting shoe. Reebok tried to make one.
Yep.
And
They occasionally re-release them.
yeah,
I've had them.
I don't feel like they've been super big, but you'll see a lot of powerlifters that wear Olympic weightlifting shoes to squat in and do stuff in.
Yep.
But there's also, you have chucks and you have your bare feet.
Yeah, you have
And-
a lot of bare feet
and you
people.
can get away with any hard sole shoe, like I said, just like a general CrossFit. I know a lot of strongmen that wear their CrossFit shoes because they're doing a bunch of different stuff a bunch of different stuff, and they need a nice base to go out of, and they need to be able to run, a keg 50 feet, right? So you see a lot of strongmen wearing CrossFit shoes a lot too.
A few of the world's strongest man guys wear Jordan 1s.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
And they're
again,
relatively, I haven't worn them, but they look pretty stable.
Flat
Yeah.
sole, yep, absolutely, yep.
And that's also for those sports, especially a lot of ankle support is needed. That's why they wear mid or high tops.
Yeah, the ankles, those high tops are going to give a little more support, absolutely. And then you have everything else under the sun, any other types of running shoes, but those are like the big three that we especially start seeing here. So that's our talk on shoes.
Yeah.
If before we kind of get to our question and answer and close up, like, If you have any question, like specific questions on shoes, shoot me a message, email us, let us know, and that's something we can hit in our Q&A after on one of these podcasts, or we can shoot you a message directly.
I really like shopping with other people's money. If you're looking for shoes,
I am more than happy to spend your money.
Exactly. All right, now on to some Q&A. We have mostly some general stuff today. The first one is, what's the purpose of the damper on the rower, and how should I use that?
Yeah. So there's this dial on the side of the rower that goes up and down. It goes from 1 to 10. And I'm gonna get a little nerdy here. I'm gonna give you why that damper is there, like why it was designed. So the row erg was meant to supplement training for actual rowing, like in the water, right? It's meant to supplement that. It's to train for it. And a standard, if you're in the water in a boat, is going to be a 4 or 5 on the damper. What happens is when you're in a boat with less people in it, say you're by yourself or you're like a 2-person boat, what's going to happen is the boat's going to be lighter, so you're going to be higher in the boat. And what that means is there's going to be less resistance when you're rowing, right? Because you're not as deep in the water. There's less holding you back, less drag. So in theory, what you do is you would lower that damper rating. So if I'm training for a 2-person boat, I would train on that lower damper setting so I know what it would feel like in the water when I'm pulling that stroke. Then let's say now I'm training, or somebody else is training for I don't know specifics about rowing. Let's say a 10-person boat. I don't even know if that's a thing. I'm sorry. I'm ignorant in this phase. But what's going to happen is more people in that boat, the boat's going to sink. Yep. And you're going to have more drag on that boat. So what we will do is we'll take that damper up for that drag. So that's the history behind it.
Yep.
Now,
if you're a rower or a physicist, please write in and tell us why we're wrong.
Or don't. Just gonna assume no. That's from that was something I listened to from Dark Horse Rowing is where I got that from. So he's an awesome guy on YouTube. Just search Dark Horse Rowing. Awesome. He does really great rowing stuff. So now let's take this into here. Generally speaking, we're just gonna keep that damper around 4 or 5. It's just a standard way to hit it. The 2K world record was set on a 4 damper setting, right? If it's good enough for that person, it's good enough for me, right? Now, that being said, if you're rowing for power, for calories, a little bit more resistance can help you get more power out of your stroke. That does not mean throw that thing to 10. That does not automatically mean you're gonna be pulling more. It's also more resistance, might mean more power, but it also means more effort, and it might burn you out. So generally speaking, if you're going a little bit shorter, if your goal is power output, AKA calories, maybe take that damper a little higher, shorter. If you're going longer, if you're going for meters, I would probably bring that damper down a little bit so you don't have that constant, just all this tension, because that's just going to burn you out in the long run. So those longer rows, you probably want to lower that damper a little bit, or going for meters, kind of lower that a little bit. I hope that makes sense and that answers it. What do you feel? What do you think? You like that?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah. And again, additional questions. You have any specific questions? Shoot us.
Yes.
Shoot us an email. Shoot us a DM. Whatever. Yep. Slide into those DMs.
Got it. Next general question is, how often should I work out?
I get this all the time, especially in our no sweat intros when people are just starting, is how often should I do this? And to be honest, the answer is it depends, like almost all questions. But generally, I like to see starting with 3 days a week. If you're doing less than that, you're just not going to see results. You're not. You can, if you're just beginning, you can work out once a week and get better. Absolutely. Yep. But when you start getting to those 3 days a week, that's when you can really start hitting that momentum and getting that compounding effect where you're just shit's going awesome. And then if you feel like you want more, or you're not getting where you want, we can slowly start building it up. So basically start it start low and then build up to it. And, so some people work 6 days a week, but make sure you're taking your rest days. Your body needs to recover. If you don't recover, you're not going to get better. Start small, slowly build up to it. Don't think you're just going to hop in 2 days, 6 days a week. That's how you get hurt.
Yep.
That's how bad things happen.
And 3 is a really solid starting point too, because it is sandwiched by rest days.
Exactly.
So it's your on off the whole time instead of just
Monday, Wednesday,
hammering it.
Yep. Great point.
Is that a typo?
Yes.
I wasn't sure if I was
obviously there's a T in that.
I wasn't sure if I was supposed to pronounce that.
Sweet.
I mean, that kind of worked. Last question is, how do I get the sweet abs? And I don't think anyone's asked that in that way, but okay.
I beg to differ. They don't put it like that. So I wrote this in the notes, and it was, how do I get the sweet abs? And I think the just adds another level to it. I love it. So, basically, another way to reword this is, how do I look better naked? And how do I get those abs? Abs are really hard for most people. What happens is, you can't spot lose body fat, right? You can't be like, oh, I want to lose fat in my arms, so I'm going to try and do that. It's like, no, that's not how it happens. You lose your general body fat over time, and certain people lose it in certain areas and store it in certain areas. For me, I store mine right in the stomach in that fat tire. There's some people that store it in their hips and their butt, right? People store it different ways, and people lose it in different ways as well. But in order to get sweet abs, you need to lower your body fat percentage. That's the only way to get them. There's muscles there. In order for those muscles to show, there needs to be less body fat on your body. So how we do that is lower our body fat. How do we lower our body fat? It's by increasing our lean muscle mass and eating well. How do we increase our lean muscle mass? It's by eating well and working out. It's clean, or eating less calories can help, but also eating the right things can help as well. So we need to do both. Yes, if our goal is to get those sweet abs and lose weight, we need to make sure that we're eating less, like we're at a caloric deficit, but also that we're eating well, because if you're eating just bread, you're going to have all these insulin spikes, and you're going to have that's going to be stored as fat, and you're going to get that skinny fat syndrome. So to fight that skinny fat syndrome, we want to make sure that we're eating fruits and vegetables, meat, fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, no sugar, and that's how we get there.
Never heard that before.
So, you hear it all the time. It's in the kitchen, and that's one way to think about it. It's in your habits.
Yep.
In your habits is where abs are made.
Yep. I think that's it for today.
Yeah, man.
Alrighty. Well, if you stuck with it till the end, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. It's a chore. Have a good one. I'll see you guys next month.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. Have a good one.